Hey guys, Stealth here. After the pain of the swing fire, you're finally getting to tier 5, and the tier 5 is the Fox. Now, the first thing you need to know about the Fox is that you're not actually driving a recon vehicle. You're flying a small rocket ship, or at least that's the way that it usually feels when you're bolting your way across the map in this thing. As you can see, I have it pretty heavily outkitted. I have, of course, the main gun, but I also have the turret with the torpedo launchers. It's not a submarine. The missile launchers. These missile launchers will definitely help you with doing a lot more damage than you would if you only had this this 30mm autocannon. Now, the Fox. Let's first pull up some stats. I'm going to compare it to the swing fire because you need to know that this thing handles drastically different than the swing fire does. If you compare these two, you're going to see that the main difference between them already is that the swing fire is tracked and the Fox itself is wheeled. That results in a top speed that is, and I gotta say, including my retrofits and crew skills, twice as high on the Fox as you would be going on the swing fire. Of course, the second main difference is that you have a main gun instead of just a couple of missile launchers. And this gives you slightly different penetration stats with the alpha damage. Because the damage for the Fox doesn't seem that impressive. You do 106 damage per shot, but you get a 6 clip shot or 6 clip autoloader to do that. These 6 shells you can fire off in about 1.5 to 2 seconds, or at least that's how fast it feels. And yes, 103mm of penetration isn't really that much, especially once you start comparing that to 428. But keep in mind here that the Fox fires kinetic penetrations, or kinetic rounds. This one fires shaped charges, which is usually something that tanks have increasingly more resistance against as you go up the tiers. What I have found is that with the Fox, you cannot penetrate most tanks from the front, especially the heavier armored types, but lighter armored vehicles such as Scouts, TDs, Leopard 1A5, stuff like that you can easily penetrate from the front. You can even further boost the firepower by getting the missile launchers, but more on that later. You can see that the sustained damage is way higher on the Fox, but don't be mistaken. This damage is something that you will rarely, if ever, do. Because most of the time you're going to be passive spotting, or at least that's the way that I use the Fox, and I gotta say I use it to great success. Hit points wise, you're not gaining that much. You're going from 760 to 875. And of course the hull is still really weak. It's steel, this one's aluminum. You have a few modifiers, but pretty much everything that's going to hit you is going to hurt you, so keep that in mind. Mobility, I already briefly pointed it out. It's twice the speed that you would be expecting from the swing fire. This thing is one of the fastest vehicles in the game, and especially accelerating is going to be very quick. 32 kph in 2 seconds. There are very few vehicles other than the Fox, if any, that can claim this kind of acceleration. Of course, being a wheeled vehicle also means you cannot do some of the stuff that the swing fire or other tracked vehicles could do. You can no longer change on the spot or use your hull traverse in order to turn the vehicle around. It just doesn't work that way with the Fox. Driving can be a bit unexpected, and it always makes for a very interesting ride if you're moving in the Fox. The Fox, with its incredible speed, also gains another adversary as far as its hit points go. You have terrain damage. If you drop from too far a distance or if you drop from too high, you will take damage. And especially if you've already taken a bit of damage, that can kill you. You can actually accidentally kill yourself in the Fox a lot easier than you could with the swing fire. So keep that in mind as you're going to be driving that. But more on that as I'm going to show you some gameplay. Camouflage factor, well, you're sacrificing a little bit there. You're looking at 0.33 versus 0.39. But with 506 meters of spotting range you can outspot pretty much anything. Of course, the swing fire is something that I don't currently have in my garage, so I don't have any retrofits installed on it, and that is going to give you a bit of a false positive, because the base range of the swing fire was 440, but you could get this up to 500 with the right retrofits. Targeting is something I'm not going to compare because they're so completely different that it doesn't really matter what kind of targeting type the swing fire had. The Fox does get a bit of gun depression at -5 degrees, but if you are looking at targets that are way below you, you're going to have a hard time actually hitting those. Turret reverse at 63 degrees means you can swing this turret around in 3 seconds, go from say front to back or side to side. And a reload time of only 6.44 seconds means that you have a very high damage output if you can actually penetrate the armor that you're facing. That will not always be the case, but if you do find yourself at the rear of an enemy vehicle, you can very quickly punch through that armor and do 600 to 660 damage very quickly. Accuracy is pretty good. Targeting time, it takes a little bit of time, but not that much. Now, going into the upgrades for the Fox, most of it is firepower. You start out with a 30mm L21 gun. You can upgrade that with additional ATGM launchers. And these are a dual setup of Milans. It's the L21A1, so the L21 plus ATGMs. The stats here are a bit confusing, but the salvo size is for the 30mm, so you still get a 6-shot clip. You also get a 2-fire ATGM, which are the Milans. And those Milans in their upgraded shape have quite a lot of penetration. Of course, going through the front or the turret of an enemy tank is something that's not going to be likely, because most tanks at this tier have quite a few ways of defeating that. And especially once you start to see tier 6, which you will in the Fox, there will be active protection systems, which means that missiles would just completely disappear because the tank has some sort of, I would almost say, magical way of making those things go away. Those things are not always going to be active, and you can go through, but the Milan 2 does definitely add quite a few firepower options to the Fox itself. You also get a firepower slot. Mobility, you get a retrofit slot, or mobility retrofit slot, and with the technology section you don't really have to unlock anything but the tech retrofit slot there. You can also gain the security control package, and this will help you with capture rates, but I never use this one. I always scout and boost my optics range instead of trying to capture, because let's be honest, who captures these days? You get 2 credit packages and 1 title, which is the Fox, and that's the one that I'm using right now. As far as my crew goes, I'm running with Sabrina Washington here. She gets a vision increase of 10%, aim speed of 10%, and this is very important for the Fox, a camo factor improvement of 10%. You also get a visibility penalty while shooting that's reduced by 30%. So firing your main gun or launching your missiles is not as likely to get you spotted as it normally would. And of course you do get a bit of base capture, but again, I rarely, if ever, use that. Crew skills, I have the smooth ride, because when I do shoot at targets I will usually be going at or near full speed, and smooth ride will help you to hit the target. The other one is sharpshooter, which reduces my minimum accuracy, and as far as ammo goes, you do have the capability to bring HE rounds. I never bring those. I find that the AP rounds work well enough for me, and more often than not I end up with anywhere between 1500 damage and 3000 or 3200 I think is my record. And that's not only by using the main gun, but also using the ATGMs. You get 10 of these, so use them wisely. But with their damage of 531, and that's per missile, if you can get 2 targets or 2 missile hits with these targets, 2 hits with these missiles, you're already looking at 1000 plus damage, which is more than the hit points of the Fox. If you add spotting to that, you're going to be more effective for your team. Now retrofits are important for this vehicle because what you want to do is boost that spotting range as far as you can. And for that I have Augmented Optics 1 installed. I would love to get the Mark II, but I don't have the BMP 1P retrofit unlocked yet. So vision range plus 5%. I'm using the enhanced shell materials that I unlocked from the BMD2, which will help with accuracy on the move as well as reload. Improved filter systems are going to boost my maximum speed even further, and that's how you get to that. I think it was 110. 110.9 kph, and on few occasions the vehicle has actually gone this fast. And the last one is the enhanced sight interface, which again gives 4% improvement to vision range and gives me a 10% penalty reduction. Consumables, the usual. The expensive kits, which again I rarely if ever use. Alright, that's it for the talking. Let's fire this rocket ship up and get into a battle. Okay, pipelines map, which is in this situation mostly a tier 4 match. There are only a couple of tier 5s on each team, and I happen to have the luck to be one of those. Again, this replay is not cherry-picked. I just pressed record, pressed pause to pause the recording, get you into the game, and then unpaused. So what you're seeing is not some sort of replay that's been sugar-picked because it was one of my best. Of course, that'd be hard to do because the replay system isn't implemented yet. Anyway, what I want to do initially with the Fox is provide spots. I want my team to be able to fire at targets, especially considering that there's 2 artillery players on my team. I want to get targets for those guys. And I have found that my favorite spotting area on this map is the left side. Now, as you can see, the Fox doesn't always handle the way that you would expect. And this can make for some hilarious gameplay, because sometimes you're just running into rocks, sometimes you're jumping over rocks. You can go dune hopping, you can accelerate very, very quickly, and look at this, I'm doing 80, 90, 101. Oh, a little speed bump there. I got to 109 kph, and I found this on the pipelines map to be a good spotting position. Of course, it does depend on where your team goes, because sometimes the team goes to the other flank. Now let's hope that that Fox doesn't get too close, because he's going to proxy spot me that way. But from here I have a good overview of this entire western flank, and that, if there are any targets, will light up anything right away. There's the first one. I'm going to try and designate this target. And yep, there he is. Come on. He's going in and out of cover here. That Fox has already taken quite a few hits. Let's hope they can finish it off, because that would mean I'm the only spotter here. Now I have been spotted. With the Fox, if you are spotted, just hit reverse, and you'll be out of there in no time. Yep, the Fox is destroyed. Good. Now I can start to focus on hurting this thing a bit. Switching to missiles, lasing the target, and the T-64 I can penetrate from the side. So I'm not going to aim for the tank unless the missile's already in the air. No penetration there. But I believe that by doing it this way I will not get, or the tank will not get a notification that there's an anti-tank missile coming in. I'm not exactly sure if this works, but I'm assuming that it does, because I have found that I get more missile hits this way. Missile in the air. Now he got the notification, he's popping back, and I got him. 400 damage done, as well as the spotting damage that I got from that. Now, one of the things that you need to remember is that you're a light scouting vehicle, and that means that you do get a bonus if you're not moving at full speed. You'll retain your full camo value. A couple of rounds into the Begleitpanzer there, or the Bagel as it's come to be known. And try to get unspotted here. I'm just really trying to spot stuff and picking out targets of opportunity. Reloading the clip. Let's see if this one is going to pop out again. I don't expect him to, though. Trying to push up, possibly get that swing fire killed there. Oh, BMD spotted. BMD 1s are quite the threat for your vehicle because they can fire 73mm heat rounds. BMD 2s are even worse. They carry an autocannon, and that is going to really hurt your vehicle. Here's an artillery. Oh, that's not the artillery that I'm spotting. LAV 300 hit me there with heat. I stayed into that position way too long. Come on, let's see what I can find. Yep, there's the BMD. Whoa, Jesus. Almost had a friendly there. Couple of hits. ATGM's probably coming in from that swing fire there. Although the Bagel Panzer could also be firing ATGM. Couple of hits, and someone else got the kill. Already 5 tanks up for their team. Oop, there's a BMD. Reloading my clip. 1, 2, come on. You can see I'm not firing these things full auto because I found that that doesn't make the most sense with this vehicle. Because your targeting reticle does bloom pretty quickly. Whoop, didn't see that rock there. Look at that, 50 kph while driving through a river. That's impressive. Not many vehicles can do that. Just the sheer acceleration of this thing makes it such a joy to play. For me, this is one of my favorite vehicles. And I'm really looking forward to the VBL, which, as I'm recording this, I think I only need 10,000 XP to do that. So I'll probably be getting that one today. Now this M60 is probably going to be looking south. That is, until he died. But you can really quickly move up the targets, and he cannot turn his turret fast enough. Now my aim was not to do damage, but to turn him around. And by doing that, my friendlies now have a better chance of actually doing damage to this guy. As well as myself, because I can now start to go through the rear of his armor. You see, the gun depression does not really allow me to get on target here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Very quick to deliver 502 points of damage to that target. And with only one friendly tank loss, this match has already ended. So I'm going to wait for the screen to come up with the results. Alright, results are in. I spotted 500 points, I did 1800 points of damage, spotted 8 targets, got the recon medal. I pretty much have a subscription to the recon medal, it seems. I almost always get this thing when I'm driving the Fox, even when I'm not actively trying to spot stuff. 3,500 XP, 97,000 or 90,007. Cannot speak English anymore. 97,000 credits, and that nets me 86,000 because I expended a few rounds. I fired a few ATGMs, and I got a bit of damage. Team-wise, I finished second on the team by just doing a bit of damage and doing a bit of spotting. That's something that the Fox does just extremely well. So that was a bit quick. Let's do another one. Okay, Cold Strike is loading in. And one thing that I do want to make clear is that what I have seen many Fox drivers do is use all that speed that you have with this vehicle and get yourself into trouble. That's not the way that I think the Fox should be played. As far as I'm concerned, your speed is an asset, not an enemy. So use it to either get yourself out of trouble or into very, very fortunate spotting positions. And I'm going to try and find one of those positions along the river, because going into the town with this vehicle at this stage of the game isn't really useful. I'm much more likely to take fire from multiple targets, and considering I only got 875 HP, I'm not interested in taking fire. What I can do is use my exceptional spotting range, and other than the 2 swing fires, we don't really have that many spotters anyway, to try and spot as many units on the riverbank flank as possible. Possibly providing spots for the swing fire. And it's a bit slippery here. It's a bit slippery here. Providing spots for the swing fire and the dragoon, so that the swing fire doesn't have to move that far forward. Now, I would love to start on the other side, because there's a great spot on the other flank that you can reach, but I'm not too sure you can reach it from this angle. Look at that. That is why you drive the Fox. And considering I'm only moving at 38, yeah, I said only. I'm only moving at 38, and look at that, there's the first target. I do still have my full camo capacity. Switch to the ATGMs. Try to laze this guy. There he is. He's going to be dipping down. Missile going in. Track damaged. And the second missile killed off his track. Look at that, I'm spotting everything. They're not even coming towards the south here. They're not making it that far. OF-40 is something that I can barely penetrate. But I'm just very happy here just spotting targets. Letting other people do the damage. If I open up now with my gun, I am very likely to start taking damage. And considering I don't really have that much terrain to pull back into, I'm perfectly happy to just play it for this for a while. If that's not your playstyle, then the Fox may not be for you, because I've found that this playstyle seems to be working best for the Fox. Just not being too aggressive, but spotting stuff, and once the battle has been cleaned up, once there are multiple victims, that is when you start to clean up whatever is left. Because by doing it that way, you can pretty reliably take out multiple vehicles with a clip. There's T-64 here. Unfortunately, our artillery is otherwise engaged.
Identify. Hostile tank.
What I have seen people do, by the way, is go off the handle, fly off the handle at their artillery players for no apparent reason. If you spot a target, that doesn't mean that you claim the right of your artillery, or you claim the attention of your artillery drivers. Hey, whoops, spot it. I'm out of here. Whoa! Don't do that. Top smoke. Yeah, close enough. ATGM coming in. Woohoo! Bit of environment damage there, but I made it out alive. Anyway, if you spot a target and you have it spotted for I don't care how long, it doesn't matter if you spot it or not. If your artillery is not going to shoot it, then so be it. Your artillery, that doesn't make your artillery any less of a good player. He's just otherwise engaged. So always consider that. Don't be one of those entitled people who think that because they spotted a target, someone else should be shooting at it. Let's see, I'm trying to get a side shot here. Yep, Fox, or sorry, not the Fox, the swing fire is delivering quite a bit of damage there. There's the swing fire. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 5 rounds hit, 429 damage. I was looking to get shots on this leopard. No effect. Fired 3 rounds. Reload the clip. Let's see if I can spot them again. Yep, BMP2. I might even be able to laze either of these targets. Or at least I would love to. You can see the gun depression does not allow me to get shots on that thing. But I can spot it. So that's what I'm going to do. Come on. Get over here. There's no need to laze this thing. Anyone with a heat round can take it out. Already destroyed that target. Now there's just the swing fire there. Yep, hello. And the BMP-2. Swing fire's behind a building. BMP-2's behind a ridge. But I spotted both of them. 1, 2, 3. Bye-bye. See, I don't have to do all the damage. I'm perfectly happy letting other people do the damage here. Because that just works in the Fox. Now let's start hunting down artillery. Insofar as not everybody's doing that yet, but I think that LEV down there is going to get the kill. So I'm going to try and get a bit close in with this BMP-2. Up you go. What are you looking at? You're looking the wrong way. 2, 3, 4, got him. 1200 damage, and probably a lot of spotting damage. Let's see. Alright, look at that. 2700 spotting damage, 1200 damage on my own, 2000 XP. That's not doubled, and that's not with the premium commander that you can get 10% extra XP with. This is just premium. This is what the Fox does. Details, 100,000 credits. So that's the way that I play the Fox. You spot stuff. You move aggressively to a spotting position and then you hold. Only take shots when and where you can. This thing is called, as far as I'm concerned, the Fox for a reason. You have to think like a fox in order to make it work. Don't use your speed to get yourself into trouble. Don't try and be a hero and go storming off into the enemy base trying to go for artillery. That's not something that this thing does best. I'm going to go into a third and last PvP battle. I'm skipping PvE because I found that the Fox just doesn't do that well there. Or moreover, I don't do that well there. And in PvE, usually you will have autocannons or very heavy hitting heat units spawn right next to you, which is always a bad thing if you only have 875 hit points. But in PvP, where the situation is a bit less fluid, you're a bit less likely to be jumped, that's where I found the Fox to work very, very well. Okay, I'm going to pause it here and wait for the gameplay to come up. Okay, River Point, and this time I'm the lowest tier, tier 5 in a tier 6 match, or at least a mostly tier 6 match. There's 2 artillery players on my team, and that is usually good news, because anything I spot will get taken, or will take fire from the artillery units. Now I'm considering going left here, or that is left towards for the vehicle as it's oriented right now, which is the 8 line. I can do spotting from there. Spotting in the middle is risky. I haven't really ever pulled it off successfully, and spotting on the left is not that interesting because there's not that many units that will go there. So I'm going to move towards the left flank and use cover to hide myself and hopefully spot MBTs so that my own MBTs have a much easier time actually gunning those things down. Later on I hope to be able to go for those artilleries, the 2 Acacias in the enemy team, and let's hope that by that time the 2 Fox players on the enemy team will be dead so that I can do that job with a bit of safety. Now this is my favorite hidey hole. This rock here, combined with my camo value and my excellent spotting range, means that I can usually spot stuff long before it spots me. Look at that, there's already an Acacia spotted there.
Hostile tank marked.
And what I can also do here, even though I don't have to fire, I can designate targets, and designated targets take more damage. You get a bit of XP from doing that, and it's going to help my team finish off these tanks faster. So far it's the Ural, a T-72A, and a Leopard 2AV. But they're not that aggressive yet. I'm going to switch to ATGMs right away, because anything else is never going to pen these guys. Here comes the T-72A. Lots and lots of ERA on that vehicle. If I don't have to, I'd rather not try to fire my missiles at it. We did already lose 1600 or 600 hit points. Let's see about the others. Oh, there's another Fox here. That means we're pretty much competing for spots, and that's not something I'm interested in. So, I'm out of here. You can have that one. I might be able to spot that beam. Ooh, talking of which, there's the BMD. He fired a missile. I spotted him. He instantly took 462 damage, I think. Come on, spot him again. There he is. There's a Centauro all the way back there, and I'm hoping that he can take out the BMP-2, or BMD-2. Or I might be able to do it myself. Yep, got it. There's a Fox down there on half health. And I'm not sure about their TDs, if they still have any. They do still have a Centauro, which has not been spotted. And that's usually cause for concern. Oh, been spotted by the Fox there. Relocating. Artillery seems to be trying to go through the highway there. Good luck with that. I'm considering doing a really risky run to distract those tanks by coming in from their rear. But with that Fox down there, it's damn near impossible to pull off. So that thing has to go. That's a good start. There. There's a Chieftain up there. Ooh, there's the Centauro.
Hostile tank.
Yep, bit of rock there. Ooh, jeez, Artie. There's not even anything here, man. And the VBL has also gotten the same idea.
Identify target.
Hostile truck.
5-6. Get out. And I got hit heavily by the Centauro there. I cannot survive another hit. From anything, that is. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm probably going to die here. Yep. Too aggressive. Too aggressive too soon. If the Centauro would not have been there, the Leopard 2AV would have been toast. But this time around, I was just way too aggressive. Still, I managed to pull off 937 damage. And by doing that, I still made a pretty decent contribution to the team. Now, to wrap up this review, I'm going to see how the other Fox is going to play it. He seems to try and get a spot on this Leopard here. There's Centauro. He probably lit that up. Unfortunately, if he doesn't carry HE rounds, which I don't, he's not going to be able to go through the front of that Leopard. There, Centauro's dead. And yes, this is really the third replay or the third gameplay video that the team, my team, is doing really well in. Again, not sugar picked or sugar coated. This is just what I have found with the Fox. Because if you have good spotters, then your team is going to start to do more and more damage. If your spotters are hiding in the back, not so much. So this flank is secure, but the other flank is wide open. And our Palmeria seems to be a bit pissed off about that. So let's see, this Fox is possibly going to try and sneak up upon the Chieftain if it's still up there. Interesting about this Fox, by the way, is that it went with any of the upgrades or the retrofits that boosted the hit points. Because I got 875, this one has 940. That little bit of extra hit points can save you. But most of the time, the high caliber rounds that are going to be impacting your vehicle will be sufficient that 40, 50, 70 hit points are not going to be enough to save you to survive another hit. So far he's just skirting around. He does not really have any good shots here. He's looking at a hold down Chieftain there. Good luck penetrating that. But I think the Chieftain is distracted while going after the MBT-70. Look at that, something hit that thing for 700. That must have been the MBT-70 there. Couple of rounds. He did a bit of damage and the Chieftain is pretty much a ram kill. This is one of the targets, the other one's up there, and he's never going to get there in time. Victory. Again, pausing it because the victory screen takes too long, and then be right back. Alright, we're back. Almost 800 spotting damage, a little under 1000 damage done. Still got 1500 XP, almost 1600 for that. And as far as cash goes, 63,000 credits. With that, I finished pretty much halfway through the team. And the other Fox, well, I didn't really do that well. Only got 14th place. So, I hope that with this review you have a bit of an idea of how to play this little rocket ship. It's a scout car, but consider yourself to be a rocket ship, and that the thing sometimes seems to want to decide where it wants to go all by itself. If you keep that in mind, if you use your your Milans very well, if you use your gun well, and if you don't let your speed get you into trouble, you can be a real asset to the team, and you can have a lot of fun in this vehicle. Hope it was useful to you. If it was, please hit the like button. If you have any buddies who would also benefit from this review, please share it with them. And if you have any questions about the Fox, leave them down below in the comments. Looking forward to hearing and seeing from you, and see you next time.